Did you know that some of the things you do every day could be stealing the strength from your muscles without you realizing it? In this special video, you'll discover the 10 destructive habits that are literally devouring your muscle mass faster than you think, accelerating sarcopenia, a condition that especially affects older adults. The last one will surprise you. But before we start, I want you to pay close attention to this story, as it will be very important for understanding the great lesson of this video. In a remote village in the mountains of Greece, I met Dimitris, an 85-year-old man who every morning walked 5 kilometers to his olive grove. Despite his age, he carried sacks of olives that weighed more than many young people could lift, and his arms showed muscle definition that anyone half his age would envy. One day, intrigued by his extraordinary vitality, I asked him, "Dimitris, how do you manage to maintain that strength at your age?" Dimitris looked at me with those wise eyes full of experience and answered, "My son, it's not about complicated formulas or magical secrets. My strength is due to avoiding those small habits that day by day devour people's muscles." The old man paused, took a sip of his Greek coffee and continued, "And what are those habits?" Dimitris looked at me with serenity and said, "They're things you do without realizing it. Not moving your body, skipping meals, not drinking enough water. Those small mistakes are the true thieves of muscle strength." So, inspired by Dimitris' wisdom, today I'm going to reveal the 10 habits you might be doing that are mercilessly devouring your muscles. Ready to discover what they are? Before we start, tell me something important. Have you been waking up lately more tired than normal? Have you noticed that you have less strength in your arms or legs? If so, comment below with the word weakness. And don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss more tips that will transform your life. Let's begin. The first habit that devours your muscles fastest is sedentarism. Many consider sitting as something harmless, but let me tell you something. Every hour you spend motionless is like stealing a little piece of strength from your muscles. Imagine your muscles as a perfectly designed factory that produces strength and movement. During physical activity, this factory works at full capacity, strengthening fibers, building proteins, and renewing your muscle power. But when you don't move enough, it's like turning off the factory machines before they finish their construction work. Sedentarism doesn't just leave you with weak muscles. It severely affects muscle protein synthesis, that magical process that keeps your muscles strong and functional. Your muscle fibers suffer, losing mass and power, which results in less strength, and your neuromuscular system doesn't stay behind. Without sufficient stimulus, your nerve connections can't efficiently activate your muscles during the day. A fascinating study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology revealed that people who remained inactive for more than 72 hours already showed signs of muscle atrophy. And what is muscle atrophy? It's like the slow death of your muscle fibers, and its speed is directly related to your level of inactivity. In other words, not moving is literally making you lose muscle faster at the cellular level. But not all is lost. The good news is that you can reverse part of this damage simply by moving more. How much is enough? Experts in sarcopenia, like Dr. Stuart Phillips, an authority in muscle protein metabolism, recommend at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, along with resistance exercises twice a week for most older adults. Now, I know what you're thinking. But I have so many things to do. How am I going to exercise that much? Think of it this way. Moving isn't a luxury. It's an investment in your independence and your future. It's like putting money in your muscle bank account. Every movement session is a deposit that will keep you stronger, more independent, and more functional long-term. So the next time you're tempted to stay seated all afternoon watching television, browsing the internet, or resting on the couch, remember, you're trading years of independence for minutes of comfort. Is it really worth it? But watch out, movement isn't the only factor that protects your muscles. In fact, there's another silent thief that could be devouring your muscle mass right now even while you eat: the lack of proteins. Imagine your muscles as a house under constant construction. What do you think would happen if you never gave bricks to the builders? Exactly, the house would never be built and would eventually crumble. Well, that's what we're doing to our muscles with the lack of proteins in our daily diet. We live in a world where many older adults believe they need less food as they age. From the moment we wake up until we go to bed, we're bombarded by the idea of eating less, small portions, and light diets. Our body interprets this lack of proteins as a signal of scarcity, activating our survival system that sacrifices muscle to obtain energy. The problem is that this chronic protein deficiency doesn't just make us feel weak. It's literally devouring our muscles at the cellular level. How? Through a process called muscle catabolism. When we don't consume enough proteins, our body begins to break down existing muscle proteins to obtain the essential amino acids it needs for vital functions. Remember the muscle fibers we talked about in the Sedentarism section? Those microscopic structures that give strength to your muscles are extremely sensitive to protein availability. Chronic lack of proteins makes these fibers disintegrate faster than they can be rebuilt, which translates into accelerated sarcopenia. But not all is lost. In fact, I want us to do a small mental experiment right now. Think about your last meal and count how many protein sources you included: eggs, meat, fish, legumes, dairy. If you can't count at least one significant protein source, you already know why you might be losing muscle. This simple analysis of your plate can instantly reveal if you're feeding or devouring your muscles. Imagine the impact you could have if you incorporated quality protein sources in every meal of your daily routine. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed less than 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight had muscle loss rates 3 times higher than those who consumed adequate amounts. It's as if the lack of proteins robbed us of decades of muscle strength. So, is there a way to correctly feed our muscles? The good news is yes. We can't completely eliminate sarcopenia from our lives, but we can change our relationship with proteins. Strategies like distributing proteins in all meals, choosing high-quality sources, and combining proteins with resistance exercise have proven to be powerful allies in the fight against muscle loss. Sports nutritionist Dr. Stuart Phillips, in his research on proteins and aging, invites us to see proteins not as just another macronutrient, but as the fundamental building material of our muscles. By changing our perception of proteins, we can transform their impact on our body. So the next time you feel like you're not hungry, or that a little is enough for me, remember, you have the power to turn this muscle thief into your ally. An adequate portion of protein in each meal, a glass of milk between meals, or simply making sure to include eggs in your breakfast can be your secret weapons in the battle against sarcopenia. Speaking of nutrition, the next habit we're going to explore is equally devastating for your muscles. Are you ready to discover how something as simple as water can be your best defense against muscle loss? We are water in movement, says the saying. But what if I told you that we also lose muscle as we dehydrate? In our busy lives, drinking enough water has become secondary. It's easy to forget, seems unimportant, and doesn't generate immediate symptoms. But have you wondered what it's really doing to your muscles? Imagine for a moment that your muscles are like perfectly designed sponges. Each muscle fiber needs water to function correctly, contract with strength, and recover after effort. Chronic dehydration is like constantly squeezing these sponges without allowing them to rehydrate. It directly affects muscle protein synthesis and contractile function, making your muscles weaken faster than they should. But don't be scared, it's not about drinking liters and liters of water every day. That's a myth I want to debunk here and now. Adequate hydration can be simple and effective. I myself maintain balanced hydration that includes pure water, natural infusions, and liquids from foods like soups and fruits. The important thing is to maintain a constant flow of liquids and not wait to be thirsty to drink. A study published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology revealed that even mild dehydration of 2% can significantly reduce muscle strength and endurance. Remember the muscle fibers? They're those microscopic structures that depend on water to maintain their shape and function. Adequate hydration literally keeps your muscles strong at the cellular level. I'll tell you something personal. Some years ago, I lived dehydrated without realizing it. I had no idea how much water I was actually drinking, and I always felt tired and with little energy. But when I started paying attention to my hydration, I began drinking more water and keeping a bottle always nearby. And you know what? My physical performance changed completely. I started feeling stronger in my workouts. I became more resistant. I started noticing that my muscles recovered better after exercise, and even my concentration improved. I learned that adequate hydration was fundamental for maintaining my muscle strength. Everything, from my energy to my physical capacity, started improving in a way I didn't imagine. Here's a practical tip. The day has 24 hours, and you should drink water regularly during at least 16 of them. It doesn't matter if occasionally you drink less one day. It's about consistency. Start hydrating well, and you'll notice how your muscles respond better to exercise, and you feel more energetic. This reflects in all aspects of your physical strength. There's a phrase I love that changed my perspective. A person who isn't capable of keeping their body hydrated isn't capable of keeping their muscles strong in all aspects. Think of a successful athlete you admire. Are they well hydrated, or do they live dehydrated? Most of the time, people with strong muscles take care of their hydration because they understand its importance. So I invite you to start today. It's not about drinking excessive amounts, but about making conscious choices. Every sip counts. Every glass of water is an opportunity to nourish your muscles and keep them strong. Are you ready to use your water bottle as a muscle-strengthening tool? Before moving to the fourth habit that devours your muscles, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you enjoy this type of content as much as I do, comment, "I love these videos." By the way, you can now download my exclusive ebook with the best teachings from the channel in the link of the pinned comment. Let's keep learning together and improving our lives. Even so, perfect hydration is useless if you have deficiency of key vitamins. The fourth habit that devours your muscles is the lack of vitamin D. Imagine that every day you spend without enough vitamin D was like taking fuel away from a powerful engine. Sounds exaggerated, right? Well, it turns out that science has something surprising to say about this vitamin and your muscles. Modern life has turned us into beings that live indoors. We spend hours in offices, houses, or shopping centers with little exposure to the sun that our muscles need. But this apparently comfortable lifestyle has a hidden cost. It's dramatically weakening our muscle strength. Have you noticed how you feel after entire days without going out in the sun? That feeling of general weakness, that lack of energy for physical activities. Now multiply that by months or years. Not only do your muscles suffer, your coordination also pays the price. You feel unstable, with less balance, and that increases the risk of falls that can be devastating for older adults. Vitamin D deficiency accelerates the deterioration of muscle function and neuromuscular coordination. Your muscle fibers lose contractile capacity, your strength decreases, and your nervous system loses the ability to efficiently communicate with muscles. It's as if your body entered hibernation mode, but at the price of your independence and mobility. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism revealed alarming data. For every low level of vitamin D in blood, the risk of sarcopenia increases by 30%. Do you realize that vitamin you think you only need for bones is actually fundamental for keeping your muscles functioning? But not all is lost. The question is, how much sun exposure do we really need to keep our muscles strong? The good news is that you don't need to become a sun worshipper. Even short exposures can have a big impact. I recommend that every day you spend time in the sun, at least 15 to 20 minutes. I know sometimes it seems complicated. It happens to me too. I'm so busy indoors that I forget the importance of sunlight. But let me tell you something. Just as we said before that proteins are non-negotiable, vitamin D is equally crucial. It's better to be in the sun for 15 minutes, since then your muscles are going to function much better. It's like when you take a vitamin D supplement and notice more energy. It happens to me frequently. It's your muscle system responding to this essential nutrient. Depending on your age and geographic location, you might need vitamin D supplements. It doesn't matter. For example, I love combining natural sun exposure with a vitamin D3 supplement during months with less sun. I started taking 1000 IU and now maintain 2000 IU daily, according to medical recommendation. My next goal is to completely optimize my levels, but obviously I'm not telling you to take supplements without consulting. Simply going out in the sun can work wonders. Go outside with friends, get out of your indoor comfort zone. I recommend that you do outdoor activities every week, something different. Go to the park with friends or even alone. The important thing is to expose yourself to the sun, change the air, give your muscles and endocrine system that solar stimulus they so much need. Remember, every minute of sun is a minute of muscle strengthening. Don't let indoor life become your worst enemy. Go out, expose yourself to the sun, and feel how your muscles thank you. The fifth habit that devours your muscles is fragmented and irregular sleep. Yes, you heard right. Those nights of interrupted sleep you've been normalizing could be the key to understanding why you feel increasingly weaker. Many underestimate the importance of sleeping deeply, but let me tell you that your muscles are desperately waiting for those hours of nighttime recovery. Imagine your muscles as a repair shop that can only work during the night. When you don't sleep deeply, this shop runs out of electricity, and the workers, growth hormones and protein synthesis processes, can't do their reconstruction and strengthening work. The same happens with your muscle system. Fragmented sleep doesn't just make you feel tired and confused, but it's literally preventing your muscles from repairing and growing. Do you want to know how lack of deep sleep impacts your muscle fibers? Well, when you don't have restorative sleep, your body can't adequately release growth hormone. Your cortisol levels, stress hormone, remain elevated, and your protein synthesis capacity is drastically reduced. It's as if you were sabotaging the muscle building process from within. A study published in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews revealed that older adults with fragmented sleep patterns had muscle loss rates up to 40% higher than those who slept consistently well. Participants who managed to improve their sleep quality showed notable improvement in their muscle strength and lean body mass in just 2 months. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is there a magical amount of sleep to keep my muscles strong? The answer is yes and no. There's no single formula for everyone, but experts generally recommend between 7 and 9 hours of quality sleep per night, with special emphasis on achieving prolonged periods of deep sleep, depending on your age, physical activity level, and general health status. But don't worry, you don't have to become a sleep expert overnight. Your body has very clear ways of telling you if you're sleeping enough to maintain your muscles, your energy level during the day, your concentration capacity, and most importantly, your strength and physical endurance. If you feel constantly fatigued and weak, it's time to review your sleep habits. Here's a trick I use. Every night, 1 hour before going to bed, I turn off all electronic devices and prepare my environment for sleep. It's an effective way to ensure restorative sleep without having to think too much about it. And if you have problems maintaining continuous sleep, try relaxation techniques like deep breathing, a warm bath, or even natural supplements like melatonin, always consulting with a professional. Remember, sleeping well isn't just about mental rest, it's pure muscle construction. Your endocrine system, your recovery capacity, your strength, they all function better when you have restorative and continuous sleep. So the next time you feel tempted to stay awake watching television or browsing on your phone before sacrificing your sleep, think about your muscles. You could be robbing them of the opportunity to strengthen. But watch out. Even if you sleep perfectly, there's a habit that can ruin the entire muscle building process: silent chronic inflammation. We live in a world that constantly promotes inflammation without us realizing it. We feed ourselves with processed foods, live stressed, breathe polluted air, and maintain lifestyles that keep our body in a constant state of red alert. But what if I told you that this silent inflammation is like an acid that's corroding your muscles from within? Chronic inflammation is like small flames that stay lit inside your body 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Imagine your muscles as a green and prosperous forest. Every time you maintain pro-inflammatory habits, it's as if you were feeding small forest fires that slowly burn and destroy this muscle forest. This silent inflammation doesn't just make you feel tired and sore, it's literally accelerating the destruction of your muscle fibers. Inflammatory cytokines, small signaling molecules, act as toxic messengers that tell your body to break down muscle proteins faster than it can rebuild them. Did you know that chronic inflammation can be responsible for up to 60% of age-related muscle loss? A study published in the Journal of Gerontology showed impactful images comparing muscle tissue of people with high and low inflammation. The muscles of people with chronic inflammation looked decades older, with fewer fibers, lower density, and lower contractile capacity. Now, you're surely wondering, is it possible to extinguish this inflammatory fire that's devouring my muscles? The good news is yes, to a large extent. Your body has an amazing capacity to regulate inflammation when you give it the right tools. Anti-inflammatory foods like fatty fish, rich in omega-3, green leafy vegetables, berries, nuts and spices like turmeric can act as natural firefighters that help control these internal flames. It's not magic, it's biochemistry working in your favor. But the real key is in identifying and eliminating sources of inflammation. Chronic stress, excessive consumption of sugars and processed foods, lack of sleep, sedentarism, and even exposure to environmental toxins can be constantly feeding this internal fire. Remember, every anti-inflammatory choice you make is like throwing water on the fire that's consuming your muscles. So the next time you have to choose between processed food or a natural option, between stress and relaxation, between staying seated or moving, think about your muscles. Are you going to feed the fire or are you going to help extinguish it? But watch out, inflammation isn't the only silent enemy of your muscles. There's another saboteur equally dangerous: excess sugar. We go from the fire of inflammation to a sweet poison that many consider harmless. Imagine that each spoonful of refined sugar was actually a small acid that slowly dissolves your muscle fibers. Sounds exaggerated, right? Well, get ready, because what you're about to discover about sugar and your muscles will make you reconsider your next dessert. In our society, excessive sugar consumption has become so normalized that we almost don't question it. A soft drink with the meal, a sweet as a reward, cakes at celebrations. It seems harmless, right? But what if I told you that every sugar spike in your blood is directly interfering with your muscles' ability to stay strong and functional? Excess sugar is like a silent thief that takes away pieces of your muscle mass without you noticing. It interferes with muscle protein synthesis and promotes inflammatory processes that accelerate sarcopenia. Have you ever noticed how you feel after consuming large amounts of sugar? That feeling of fatigue and weakness isn't coincidence. It's your muscle system telling you it's being sabotaged. Let's see how it affects different aspects of your muscle strength. Your protein metabolism, that incredible process that builds and maintains your muscles, suffers especially. Sugar creates insulin spikes that interfere with your muscle cells' ability to absorb and use amino acids efficiently. It's like giving dirty fuel to a precision engine. It simply can't function at its maximum potential. Your cellular signaling system doesn't escape either. Excess sugar alters metabolic pathways that regulate muscle growth and maintenance, and can interfere with insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue. Remember those moments of weakness after eating a lot of sugar. It's not coincidence. It's your muscle system fighting against metabolic chaos. And let's not even talk about body composition. Sugar promotes fat storage and makes it difficult to maintain lean muscle mass. Have you noticed how your body changes when you regularly consume very sugary foods? That loss of muscle definition and increase in body fat aren't coincidence. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed something shocking. People with diets high in refined sugar can experience up to 25% more muscle loss compared to those who maintain stable blood sugar levels. Can you imagine? It's like giving away a quarter of your muscle strength to sugar. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is there a safe level of sugar consumption to maintain my muscles? The answer isn't so simple. Although our body can handle small amounts of natural sugar, the reality is that refined sugar in excess doesn't provide any benefit for muscle health. Current recommendations suggest that if you consume sugar, it should preferably be from natural sources like fruits, and in moderate amounts. This means avoiding sugary drinks, limiting processed desserts, and opting for complex carbohydrates that don't generate dramatic glucose spikes. Remember, every time you choose a food high in refined sugar, you're making a choice that directly affects your muscles. Is that moment of sweet pleasure worth it in exchange for your strength and functionality long term? The next time you're about to consume something very sugary, think about whether you really want to sabotage the muscle-building work your body is trying to do. But watch out. Even if you eliminate all sugar from your diet, there's another common habit that could be weakening your muscles without you realizing it: social isolation. In this digital age, where face-to-face interactions have become increasingly scarce, social isolation has become a silent epidemic that affects not only our emotional well-being, but also our physical strength. We spend hours at home, avoiding group activities, believing we're comfortable in our solitude. But the reality is that our muscles have never been so vulnerable, and that isolation has a cost. It's accelerating our loss of muscle mass. Chronic loneliness doesn't just make you feel emotionally bad, but it's literally weakening your muscle system and reducing your motivation to stay active. Imagine your muscles as a work team that needs external stimuli and social challenges to stay motivated. Without the positive social pressure of group activities, accompanied exercise, or simply the stimulus of leaving home, this team begins to lose performance. Neuromuscular connections weaken and your physical capacity gradually decreases. A fascinating study published in the Journals of Gerontology revealed that people with strong social connections who regularly participated in group activities maintained, on average, 30% more muscle mass and functional strength compared to those who were socially isolated. Do you realize? Your social relationships could literally be your invisible gym. Now you're surely wondering, how many social activities do I need to keep my muscles strong? The answer isn't a magic number, but experts suggest that participating in at least 2 or 3 social activities that involve physical movement per week can work wonders for your muscle and mental health. I'll tell you something personal. Some months ago, I realized I was spending too much time alone, especially after retiring. At first, I thought tranquility was what I needed. I'm naturally introverted, and the idea of joining groups or social activities seemed exhausting to me. But you know what? Over time, I started noticing that my physical strength was diminishing. I decided to join a local walking group and then a Tai Chi class for older adults. I went from being sedentary and isolated to becoming someone the group people expect to see every week. If you're an older adult, I recommend you look for exercise groups specific for your age, dance classes, community gardening groups, or even walking clubs. Not just to socialize, but to keep your muscles active in a motivating environment. If you prefer quieter activities, look for book clubs that meet in parks, photography groups that require walking, or healthy cooking classes. The important thing is that you force yourself to leave home and move with others. And here's a tip that changed my perspective. Start being the organizer of simple physical activities with friends or family. The other day I suggested to my neighbors that we take a group walk around the neighborhood. That simple suggestion became a weekly routine we all look forward to. I've gotten to know my community better this way, and some have become regular exercise partners. Remember, every social interaction that involves movement is an opportunity to stimulate your muscles, keep your motivation high, and yes, preserve your functional strength. So the next time you feel tempted to stay home watching television alone, think twice. Your muscle strength could be waiting for you in a group activity. But be careful, even surrounded by people and staying socially active, there's another silent habit that could be sabotaging all your efforts: ignoring medications that interfere with your muscles. Imagine for a moment that every pill you take to care for your health was also a small saboteur working against your muscles. Now, ask yourself, do you really know how your medications are affecting your muscle strength? Or do you simply trust that the good outweighs the bad? Ignoring the impact of certain medications on your muscles is like driving blindfolded while thinking you're on the right path. It may seem like everything's going well because your other health conditions are controlled, but over time you realize that your strength has deteriorated faster than it should. It's as if each dose was a small subtraction from your muscle bank account, without knowing why or what you're losing these strength gains for. Many older adults take multiple medications daily, and some of these drugs can have side effects that directly interfere with muscle protein synthesis, mitochondrial function, or recovery processes. Corticosteroids, certain diuretics, some statins, and various medications for chronic conditions can be silently contributing to sarcopenia without you or your doctor directly relating it. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to maintain their muscle strength better than others, even taking similar medications? It's not just genetics or luck, it's knowledge and proactive management. A study conducted by researchers at Johns Hopkins University discovered that patients who actively worked with their doctors to identify and mitigate adverse effects of medications on muscles had 40% less muscle mass loss during prolonged treatments. But don't worry if you currently take several medications. It's not about stopping necessary medications, but about being strategic and proactive. Sometimes the timing of when you take certain medications, the combination with specific supplements, or even dose adjustments can make a significant difference. Cardiologist Dr. James DiNicolantonio, in his research on medications and muscle health, invites us to see our medical treatments not as isolated interventions, but as part of an integral ecosystem that includes preserving muscle function. By adopting this holistic perspective, we can work with our doctors to optimize both the treatment of our conditions and the preservation of our strength. So I propose a simple but powerful exercise. This week, make a list of all the medications you take regularly and schedule an appointment with your doctor specifically to discuss their potential impact on your muscles. Ask about alternatives, dose timing, supplements that could help, and exercise strategies that could counteract negative effects. Remember, being proactive about how your medications affect your muscles doesn't mean being irresponsible with your general health. It's more like having an updated GPS on your integral health journey. You might not completely change the destination, but you can definitely find more efficient routes that protect both your health and your strength. And who knows, maybe you'll discover that some small modifications in your medical regimen can give you great benefits in terms of muscle maintenance without compromising the treatment of your other health conditions. And we arrive at the last habit, and for me, without doubt, the most dangerous. It's something we all do, but that has devastating consequences for our muscles and our future independence. Think about the last time you noticed it was harder to get up from a chair, or that climbing stairs left you more tired than normal. How much time has passed since you started noticing these changes? If you've been ignoring them or attributing them simply to things of age, it's possible you're losing muscle faster than you think. Ignoring early signs of sarcopenia isn't just a problem of denial, it's a habit that accelerates muscle loss in ways you can't imagine. Sometimes we minimize these changes and resign ourselves, stopping the search for effective solutions. But you know what? That attitude is stealing years of independence and quality of life from us. Look, these recent years have been an awakening for many older adults. This period in general has undoubtedly been a time of greater awareness about the importance of maintaining muscle strength. But it has also been the most challenging for those who have ignored the signals. Many people have experienced significant strength losses, and that brings many mobility problems to solve, sometimes without knowing how to address them. And if we've learned anything during these complicated times, it's the importance of being physically prepared for life's challenges. When you have muscle strength, you see everything from another perspective. That's why I always say it's fundamental to surround yourself with health professionals who help you maintain your functional strength. Your level of independence is the average of the 5 people who most influence your healthcare, and this isn't just a nice phrase, it's pure reality. The quality and independence of your life depend a lot on how early you identify and act on signals of muscle loss. Too much, I would say. That's why it's crucial that you surround yourself with professionals who really understand sarcopenia and know how to identify alarm signals from the beginning. Early signals don't just affect your physical capacity, but also your confidence and your willingness to stay active. Studies have shown that identifying and acting on early signs of sarcopenia can not only stop progression, but even reverse part of muscle loss. It's like an alarm system for your body and mind, but much more effective. When you pay attention to early signals, You can take preventive actions that can literally save you years of dependency and physical limitations. So how can we incorporate more awareness and early action into our life? Start by doing regular evaluations of your functional strength. Try getting up from a chair 5 times without using your arms, walk at normal pace for 10 meters, and measure the time. Maintain balance on one foot for 30 seconds. These simple tests can reveal important changes before they become severe limitations. Remember, life is a journey toward aging, and it depends on us to maintain our strength throughout the journey. More than habits to avoid sarcopenia, these are principles that all older adults should follow to live this journey called aging in the most independent and strong way possible. If you've made it this far, write in the comments "long and happy life" so I'll know who are the warriors who made it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications for more content like this in the future. Share this video with your loved ones so they can protect their muscle strength from today. And remember to click on the link in the pinned comment to acquire the channel's exclusive ebook. A big hug and see you in the next video.